What's up, guys? Welcome to our channel. This is the Manifest Digest. If you're new here, on this channel we help inspire, motivate, and teach you to manifest your best life. And if you haven't already subscribed, please hit that like button, that subscribe button down there below. It would really help out the channel, really keeps us going, and all that good stuff. First, I want to preface this by saying that we are not experts in any sense of the word. All we're doing is sharing our own experience in hopes that it helps you and guides you towards whatever you want to accomplish in your life. So, especially with this video, we just want to share that this is something that everyone goes through, and it's really tough to vocalize these things. So hopefully you seeing us vocalize and be really apparent and vulnerable with you guys will let you understand that we're all going through this and it gets better.
So you might have heard about imposter syndrome, but don't even realize that you have some of the symptoms or traits that imposters have. So stick around for this video and we'll dive into the details of what imposter syndrome feels like, our experience with it, and how to overcome it. So the definition of imposter syndrome is feelings of severe inadequacy and self-doubt that can leave people fearing that they will be exposed as a fraud, usually in their work lives. It can affect anyone regardless of their success.
So, who is infected? So, who is affected by imposter syndrome? Well, it is estimated that 70% of individuals experience imposter syndrome in some form at some point in their life.
A lot of people who deal with imposter syndrome, they think that they couldn't have gotten to where they're at without a bit of luck or being at the right place at the right time. Another question to ask is, do you feel like a fraud? Do you feel like you aren't good at your skills? A lot of people feel like they've tricked people into thinking that they're good at something. Another question to ask is, do you accept praise? A lot of people find it hard to accept praise and think that their skills are not deserving of recognition. And the last question to ask yourself is, do you compare yourself to others? If you find yourself online or in person comparing your struggles to others, it'll look like they got to where they're at ease, and then that will make you feel like something is wrong with you. So even after asking yourself those questions, you still might not know if you have imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome can come with feelings like you don't belong. Even after years or months of preparation, you still feel like a fraud. Imposter syndrome is the most common amongst people who are high achievers. People with imposter syndrome are really good at undermining their accomplishments. You almost feel undeserving of opportunities that present themselves. Imposter syndrome is also linked to perfectionism, believe it or not.
So imposter syndrome is something that we all go through at some point. Well, according to the statistic that I mentioned, 70%. So 70%, that's a lot of people. That's more than half. So even we have experienced imposter syndrome at some point. I know for me, I experienced this multiple times. One that I can really recall is a time where I was job hunting right after college, looking for jobs, or not, while I was in my senior year of college actually. And it was such a eye-opener just to see how competitive the field was. You always hear about it, but to be like actually in the motions of looking for a job, it was really tough. So when I did get my first job, I'm thinking about all the times where I didn't get the callbacks, I got the rejection emails, and I'm sitting in my desk, with my first tech job, and I'm like, man, did I really get here based on my skills, or do I really deserve the position that I'm in? I just want to let you guys know that it's not foreign to feel this way. It's actually very, very common, and I still continue. Every time I take on a new project, there's still, the little guy on my shoulder that's like, do you really deserve this? And that's just what it is, because honestly, people of color, we experience this even more because we're constantly being put into positions where we're around people that don't necessarily look like us. So it's hard to compare yourself to someone that grew up in maybe a completely different socioeconomical stance than you did, or whatever. So you're constantly thinking, oh, well, they went to Yale and I went to this place, but we're in the same place. How did I get here? Maybe they just thought, hey, let me just help a little guy out or something like that, and then put me in this position. So,
or they needed black people out there.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to help somebody out to make it look good for the company.
I feel like I kind of had that thought whenever I got hired onto one of the companies I've worked for, I thought maybe they don't have any women. Maybe it's because I'm Black. I definitely can relate to that. I definitely have feelings of imposter syndrome. They come and go, but ever since I've recognized it and learned how to deal with it, they are less frequent. For example, when I got promoted at my previous job, although I was grateful to be in that position, I was constantly comparing my skills and myself to the others that didn't get the position. I realized having this mindset was not adding value to my life and would hinder my growth.
So here are some ways that you can overcome imposter syndrome. So one of the things you can do is break the silence. Shame keeps a lot of people from fessing up and letting other people know how they're feeling when it comes to a topic like this. I suggest maybe talking to a coworker or maybe just a friend and letting them know how you feel. Most likely they'll let you know that your feelings are valid, but you definitely deserve to be in the position that you are. You wouldn't have gotten there any other way.
Recognizing that you have it is one of the major steps into overcoming imposter syndrome.
Recognize when you should feel fraudulent. A sense of belonging fosters confidence. So if you're the only young person, you might be the only older person. If you're the only woman, only man, only person of color, all of these things can affect how you feel about the situation that you're in. So feeling like you don't belong in situations like that are completely normal. So instead of having self-doubt, just realize that you might be on the receiving end of maybe a social stereotype instead of it actually being about your intelligence or competence.
Realize that nobody is perfect. There's only perfect imperfections. The perfect person does not exist. And kind of like what you said, it's just kind of what society or the social life, they put these identities or traits that we should have and that means something. When in reality, we're all the same. We all have imposter syndrome. 70%. But it's, when you realize that you have more in common with that person than you don't, then you'll start realizing there's not much to fear in this situation. And remember, we only see people at their best, especially on social media. So if you're on there scrolling, that's most of the time what they look like on a good day, not their bad days.
Develop a healthy response to failure and mistake making. The first thing that we want to do as soon as we mess up is start beating ourselves up immediately. And we start thinking about all the reasons why we shouldn't be where we are in the first place. Realize that when you make a failure, it's just one of many. People fail all the time. No one gets everything right all the time. So if you just sit back and say, okay, well, I failed. How do I make this better? How do I push past this? If you look at every failure, every mistake in that aspect and just how you can do better next time, you'll surpass anything that comes your way. Visualize your success. This is something that we've actually said in multiple videos. You have to be able to visualize whatever you want to do and see the end point. Professional athletes do this all the time. They will see themselves running through that finish line, shooting that 3-point goal, whatever it is, and they will see themselves reaching that end point that they're trying to get to. We've actually mentioned this in our goals video. If you haven't seen that, I'll link it over wherever, I'm doing that YouTube thing when they're always pointing up there. But it'll be there. I'll link to that video, but you got to actually visualize success. See that you can actually do this. If you do this before maybe a presentation, you sit down, you see yourself delivering the most fire presentation that you've ever delivered in your life, most likely you're going to go in there and you're going to be 10 times better than you would have if you didn't do that. See the success, see it right in front of you, and I promise, I guarantee this will make a dramatic difference in how you go about any goal that you set in your life.
And also preparation. So the more prepared you are, the more confident you will be. If you're underprepared, then there's going to be some imposter syndrome feelings creeping up or some lack of confidence. So just prepare, visualize that success, and realize your worth, your strength, your value, because you deserve to be there just like any other person in the room. You'll notice imposter syndrome is way less frequent when you just stop caring. And the last thing I want to say is do it anyways. Even if it scares you, imposter syndrome can be crippling sometimes, and you'll just want to hide in a hole, or you really believe that you are not capable of doing the things that you totally are. So just do it anyways, even if you feel underqualified. If that opportunity presents itself, you better take it. So just do it. You got this, and we know that you can do this. All right, well, we hope this was very helpful and you guys feel motivated and inspired, because all of this is figure outable, it's achievable. You can overcome imposter syndrome. So don't freak yourself out if you feel like you have some of these traits, because we all probably have some of them. Don't worry about it. You got it, and we really hope this was helpful. All right, thanks for watching. We're the Manifest Digest.
I know a bunch of people probably hit this video thinking that they were gonna see some Among Us gameplay. We do play Among Us, by the way. If you wanna play with us, let us know in the comments. I'm a master A tier, S tier imposter up in this. If you don't know me, you don't know how I do.
And I get killed within the first 5 seconds of the game. That's okay, it's still fun. I get killed like every time. It's almost more fun watching and seeing people play, but hit us up so we can play. I sound like I actually game. I don't even game.